Hello and welcome to Let Me Be Your Game Guide, a podcast that spends each episode delving into a mystical new video game, exploring its charms and challenges, and helping you decide if it should be next on your list. I'm your host, Emma.
I'm your host, Rylan.
And I'm your host, Shawn.
Join us for this week's discussion episode as we escape reality and enter the metaphysical. For the remainder of this episode, let me be your game guide. Welcome back, or welcome to the podcast. If this is the first episode you're listening to, welcome. I would suggest going back and listening to at least the last episode because this is a part 2 of the video game / mobile game Reigns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and kind of the Reigns series a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
We got 2 of them, which we'll talk about.
Yep, Shawn and I played Reigns, the original, the
OG.
yeah. Jinx. And then, Rylan, what did you play?
I played Reigns 3 Kingdoms.
Perfect.
Very
Great.
cool.
Excellent.
I owe you a Coke.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's one in my fridge if you want to run and grab it and give it to me.
Would you like me to do that?
No,
Oh,
I don't.
okay.
I'm just kidding.
I was like, I can go get it for you.
I'm not a huge, well, it's actually Diet Coke, but I'm just not a huge soda fan.
Oh.
Yeah. I drink it every now and again. Baja Blast. I do like a good Baja.
Sure. Ice cold, rocky smooth, Baja Blast. Mm-hmm. Straight
Yeah.
from the fountain.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways. So during this episode, we're going to dive deep into the game that we played. Our last episode, we just rated the game. Minimal spoilers. So if you want to know critically how we felt about the game, go and listen to that episode. But this one's a little more loosey-goosey. We're just going to talk in a free-form fashion. And we're just going to take turns talking about our experience with the game we played.
I like that free-form fashion.
I'm going to do our plugs so quickly because I am so ready to talk about this dang game.
Cool.
Do it. I'll time you. Hold on. Let me get a timer.
Wow. Okay.
Pressure's on.
Welcome back, by the way, everyone. We're getting serious right now. Are you ready?
No, I'm not fast. You got to time me for getting the timer out.
All
okay.
right.
Stopwatch. And go.
Real quick before we begin this episode, don't forget to give the podcast a follow, rate it, review it, however you want to show us love. We have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/letmebeyourgg, where you can view episodes early as they post sometime on Sunday, which is a couple days before the actual post date where it goes everywhere else. You can also find us on most socials as Let Me Be Your GG. That's Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. And you can find us on TikTok as Let Me Be Your Game Guide. You can also email us at letmebeyourgg@gmail.com. This is the best way to send in game requests. Just make sure to put game request in the subject line so it's easy for us to find. Time.
Okay.
This is not going to match up because I'm going to edit it every time that I messed up.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
So, okay. Answer honestly. How long do you think it took you in live time?
1.5 minutes.
I'm going to go minute 15.
It was 51 seconds.
Oh.
Wow.
So after editing the parts that you stumbled over, how long do you think it's going to take?
Ooh.
I'm going to guess 45 seconds.
Okay.
We'll
I'm
have
gonna-
to see.
I'm going to go 35.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go in the middle. I'll go 40.
Okay.
Is that in the middle? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I forgot what you guys said already. Okay, well, the listeners will know before I will.
Yeah.
That's not true. I'll listen early.
You will because you're a part of our Patreon.
That's right.
Nice.
Plugging.
Yeah.
The plugging's still happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
It never ends.
Let's see the fun we have on this podcast. Jeez.
Yeah.
So who wants to start? Well, I guess before we take our turns, how many kings did you guys play as?
I ended at the year 1130, and I was on my 41st king.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was on my 20. I've had 22 characters, warlords. I don't know.
Sure.
Nobles.
Oh no, now that I've ended the game. This is the other thing, guys. So on our last episode, I was complaining that the game never ended. And then we stopped recording and I picked up the game and I was like, I'm just going to play one more life. One more life just for fun while everyone's taking turns going to the
So
bathroom.
funny.
It was 2005 in my game. And then it ended. It actually ended. They said, the devil is gone. are you tired of this? And I said yes. And then it said, you didn't break the curse. The end.
Wait, so
That's it.
so just after hours of playing this game, it's just like, yep, you didn't do it.
Yeah.
Try again.
Start
Basically.
over.
Holy cow. That's brutal.
Yeah. So,
Replayability, folks.
Yeah, I guess.
When you guys go back and look at your previous characters, do they have like, I mean, I know it says how many years they survived.
Mm-hmm.
Does it tell, do they get like, some of mine have like titles?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, some of mine do have titles.
Yeah.
Dang, this is super disappointing. I played as like 90 something kings. I don't remember though.
Wow.
What was your
lot.
longest reign?
91 years.
Dang! That's like a record.
I know.
You're like a bajillion years old by the end of that. Mine was 56 years was my longest
Wow.
reign.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mine was 720 days.
Ooh,
Oh.
yeah, because yours goes by 10
By
days.
I think 10-day stretches. Yeah.
Mm.
That's pretty good then.
It's pretty good. Yeah. I
Yeah.
got pretty good at surviving.
Yeah.
Yeah, my number one, 91 years, was James the Senile from 1820 to 1911.
I wonder how old he was when he got that nickname.
I don't remember. And then my second was 71 years, Robert the Grizzled. And then 47 years was James the Ancient. And then 45 years was William the Target.
Dang, you had some long reigns.
I know.
Because my longest was 56 years, and it was Robert the Hat. Because I made a
hat?
decision about hats. Yeah, there was a huge hat controversy, and I told everybody they can wear their hats.
Oh, wow. I didn't get that one.
Yeah,
That's
there
so
was
funny.
Yeah, there was like a mob of people who were attacking people who were wearing hats, and so everyone was all upset
Interesting.
about that. So, and then 30 years was Robert the Decisive. 3 was 25 years with Admar the Wicked,
Ooh.
and 4 was 25 years as Gerald. That's it. No nickname. So
Yeah, my longest was Yon Kang at 720 days.
Wow.
Sorry, Yon Kang the Usurper.
Oh.
Usurper?
Yeah. I think I
Suriper.
what is that what I said?
No, I'm just...
Oh,
The Syruper?
no, sorry.
No, it made me think of syrup.
The Syruper.
Syruper.
I think he betrayed his ally.
Mm.
Or her. Did you guys change genders much?
No,
Never.
mine was always a male.
I don't know if I was ever a male. I think I may have chosen something at the beginning, but I also may have
Oh.
flip-flopped.
Oh.
I'm not sure.
The original Reigns, there is a sequel called
Oh,
Reigns Her,
Her
Majesty,
Majesty.
and you play as a woman in that one. And I guess there's some other difficulties that come with that.
Sure.
Yeah, makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Rylan, do you want to start just talking about your game and the experience and the things you liked, the things you disliked?
Sure. I had a good time experiencing the world of the Han Dynasty Imperial era in ancient China. The year starts at like 181 or something AD. And I made it to like, God damn it, what year am I at now? I made it to the year 203 so far. So I still have probably another 70 years to go. Or so. I'm not sure when exactly the story ends. I think we looked it up the other day and it was 280. But I also found out later that the source that we were looking at wasn't about the game, but about the Romance of the Three Kingdoms story. I should mention that this game in the time period is kind of sort of based on a novel, Romance of the Three Kingdoms, of which I've really engaged with really just through the Dynasty Warriors video games, which, you know, is completely accurate to history and the story, I'm sure.
Oh, sure.
But,
Yeah.
you know, I kind of get the gist of it and I'm familiar with the characters enough. So it was kind of fun. Like when you start, so like the beginning of that story is like with the Yellow Turbans rebelling against the Han Dynasty. And they're like this like sort of religious cult or whatever. There's a lot of like political intrigue and stuff. But so this game starts that way too. And so you're kind of living your life and you're also starting to run across these like Yellow Turban characters or people asking you for help fighting against them. So we did that. I like learned how to battle and I thought that was just the tutorial. And then like quite a ways later through the game, these Yellow Turban folks were still around. I'm like, oh damn, I thought I was way over that, done with that. And that's when I was finding out that the pace of this game is a lot slower versus like what I expect the pace of the story to be. Like, I guess like even now where I am, it's like really the like Three Kingdoms kind of aspect is just kind of starting up. So like if you're familiar with the story at all, like I've kind of gone through like the Yellow Turban era and like the Dong Zhuo era, and now like the Yuan Shao era. Like he's still around, so it's really taking a while to like warm up a little bit. Like in the Dynasty Warriors games, at least, like you really choose a faction to be a part of. And I think I've kind of done that. Like I've kind of allied myself with a character named Liu Bei and kind of his family a little bit, but I'm still a little bit unclear. So like is this making any sense so far?
Yeah, no,
okay,
you're good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's just so different.
It
from
is.
ours.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but it's also like, it's very unclear to me. So I'm still making like choices, just like swiping left, swiping right, characters pop up. And I'm kind of using like my vague knowledge of the story to be like, you are a character that I want to be nice with. You, I don't really care about, because I am trying to align myself with the green faction from those video games, because green's the best character and Guan Yu's the best character and I want to be on his team. I haven't met him yet, but I'm so excited. But you are kind of mixed up with all this a little bit. Like I have characters on my like battle team that have joined me from like me helping them out or them just running across them from multiple of these factions. So I'm not really sure if your character in your story is actually defined by one of those three factions, I guess, or those three kingdoms. So it's kind of interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
And also like you do move through the map. You don't really have free agency on where to move and when to move. So you kind of have to be opportunistic about it. And you get different quests that expire in a certain amount of days that may be like, oh, this is like, go after this character. He's a bad guy. Or it may be like you have so much time to make the wine or something.
Oh, okay.
And it took me a while to realize that I did have a little bit of influence on this based on where I am on the map. But since you don't necessarily have influence on where you are in the map, it's kind of tricky. It's so you're kind of along for the ride, even though you're just constantly making decisions. Just a little bit frustrating, but I kind of got used to it and it's fine. Your like 4 categories that you're trying to balance are, I don't know what they're called. I only know what one's called because I did take a picture of it. You have like one that looks like maybe a rice grain. And that's kind of like your food, but also your money is represented there. You have just a little person, and that's like the common people. You have a sword, and that's like your military. And then you have, it's called a hu or a hue. I have no idea. It's just HU. And yeah, maybe it's a hue. It's a flat baton representing the moral rectitude of the scholars and the officials. So basically, if you're a prude, then that goes up. And if you like honor tradition and things like that. So it took me a while to get used to like balancing those. Now I'm pretty good at it. But I think I said this in the last episode, like when I played 30 minutes of the regular Reigns game, I kept dying because I couldn't get enough food or like everybody fucking hated me.
Yeah.
But in this game, I don't know if China's just nicer. I'm just too cool. I always die because it gets too high, which is a little bit annoying because it never makes any sense to me. Like my military is too high. So they're like, hey, we're throwing you a military parade. And then they like kill you. Like they throw rocks at you as you're going through the gate or something.
Do you have a list of all of the deaths that you got? Because I know you got like a new death.
Yeah. So
what was your favorite one or some cool
I have
ones?
only 7 out of 37 destinies met, which are deaths.
Okay.
Because I'm getting the same ones over and over again because I keep dying in those ways.
Oh, okay.
So there's also like one of them is really lame too. Like, oh, you're gifted a nice crossbow and you accidentally shoot yourself with it. I'm like, this is just seems random rather than like a punishment for your deeds, you know?
Yeah.
There is one, if the people get too hungry, they will come and eat you. And there's a little picture, like, I wish I could zoom in on this, you know, but it's like a soup bowl with like fingers and an eyeball in it.
Oh.
It's really gross. And I guess that's my favorite one because it actually makes sense. There's another one that like you get pushed into a well.
Oh my God.
But it's like, I feel like I need to be learning how to die in different ways. I've also never lost a battle. Just to put that out there.
Wow.
My battle stats are 9-0.
Dang.
So you're not battling all the time in this game.
Humble brag.
I don't want to. Yeah. So I think that the goal in this is to take over all the kingdoms or like have presence there. Because as you move around the map and you like attack places, you have battles, you gain influence, like places will turn red. But then also like I had an ally that former ally that I guess first I betrayed him, but he deserved it. Then he betrayed me and he removed my presence from an area. And I was like, you rat bastard. But I think that's the goal of the game
Oh.
is to get all the areas like conquered.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of funny because I don't really feel like I have a choice of where to go. But it's been fun. Some of the characters that I have like in my battle party, like Sweetie is a monkey that was supposed to perform, but she looked like she was in pain and she didn't perform. And one thing that you can do is boo at the monkey, which is just so sad.
Oh.
But if you
God.
ask about if the monkey's in pain, he's like, oh, she's sad or whatever because her son is like still in the forest. And so I bought the monkey off him and like journeyed to the mountains and like had a weird mini game where I was like following this path through the forest. Anyways, we found the monkey son. They were reunited. They were happy. I also found a hidden like village that was self-sufficient and they were like, don't tell the government about us. And that was cool. And then also when that character died, it said like, oh, nobody knows how to get to this village now. So that was kind of cool. Even though I think I did say that I was going to tell everybody where they were at. Well, I had to keep my levels balanced. Sometimes I think I was dying more at the beginning because I was like, I will do what I feel is right, like me personally. But now I'm like,
you can't do that.
You can't do that. You got to play the game and get your stats up and down to balance that stuff.
Yeah, I accidentally had slaves once.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely done all sorts of things that I don't really agree with to not die, I guess.
Yeah.
I also had this quest that I started called the winemaker, and then at some point I just failed it. I was doing something completely unrelated and I failed it. And so I have no idea. So some of this stuff I really am just along for the ride. I'm just like, let's see what's going to happen. And it's kind of fun. There's like some story parts that happen that are like multi-part. So there was like a dog that led me to a well and in the well was a corpse.
It was you.
No.
Oh.
But that's funny. I don't think I died. I don't think I had died in a well by then.
Dang it.
But in the corpse had the imperial seal, which is like the proof of the emperor kind of thing, like for sealing letters and documents and stuff. And so like in the story, like that's a big deal. And it was found in a well. So it wasn't really found by the player character, it was found by like a different character, Sun Jian, I think. But that was kind of fun that like you get to experience that story. And there's a couple parts like that where you're like, oh yeah, like I know what's happening. This is kind of fun.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's just an interesting way to experience a story, like almost like you're just living your life in the world. I became the chancellor of some area, became the duke of some area.
Dang.
Yuan Shao was a huge dick to me, which nobody is surprised by.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh yeah, the stupid rice wine that you have to add rice to exactly 9 times. And it probably takes you like 5 minutes of gameplay to get through all those 9 times, and then you need to not do it. You're supposed to like remember how many times you've done it.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
There's like not really any reward for doing it correctly. But yeah, also that monkey that I got earlier, you can just encounter like that monkey's in my fighting party. You can just encounter that same monkey quest again.
Oh.
So it's kind of weird.
Could you have like an army of monkeys?
I don't know if it would work like that. I haven't tried.
that'd
Every
be
time I've been like,
sweet.
I don't want to do this again.
Oh man. I'd try to get all little monkeys.
Oh,
But-
yeah.
What's really weird about this game, and I'll wrap up my talk about it unless you guys had questions, but what's really weird about this game is like there's the meta plot that's going on is that this is all a simulation that you're sent from the future.
Oh.
And you're not supposed to be remembering what happened when you die. So I guess you work for this
Interesting.
company called like Synaptics. It's really weird.
What in the world?
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming
it's
out.
super weird. You work for this company called Synaptics, I guess.
Hmm.
And you are transported in a simulation. See, this is the big plot twist.
Dang. Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. You're transported back into a simulation and they're like studying the choices that you make. And I guess a bunch of people do this for money and you get more money the more choices you make or something. And there's even like a character in the simulation, kind of like the Matrix actually, where he like knows that you're in the Matrix and he towards the beginning like gives you an ability. And I think it's the ability to see like what of the 4 scales will be affected by your choices. And so you kind of encounter him a few times and he like knows about the simulation. I think he like works for them or something too.
Interesting.
It's very weird. And so when you die, there's like a handler woman who like says like, okay, time to go back in. And you're like, wait, no. But it's kind of weird because you're, like I said, you're not supposed to like, she's like, oh, we don't know why you remember your choices from before. But here you go back in. So it's kind of neat to like explain why certain things in the game don't make sense because it's all a simulation. It's really weird. I was trying to look up very lightly about the end of the game, mostly to figure out when it ends. And I guess at the end of the game, you can meet the director of Synaptics. Spoiler.
Oh.
Dang.
So it's a very weird, like almost sci-fi story at some point.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what the hell, but I'm enjoying just living in the China world and experiencing that. So
I will say that sounds a million times more interesting than the OG version.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, even just talking about like the whole premise of the OG version, it really is like you're playing a different king throughout the years, and you're just dealing with your people and the kind of the kingdoms around you,
diplomats.
Yeah. Do you want to start talking about?
Sure.
I mean, I think we can each kind of maybe spend 10 or 15 minutes just talking about our experience with the game, or just kind of go back and forth.
Sure, yeah. So, for Reigns, just the OG version, like Emma was saying, you start off as a king. You get to decide if you want to be an old king or a young king, and for the first couple times. And you just start out and you have a few people that talk to you, the general, the priest. Eventually you get a spy and you get other people that join your council. But essentially it's just decision making. It's just swiping left and swiping right on what you want.
Mm-hmm.
I did have a couple interesting interactions where I was talking to a diplomat from the South, I think, and she said that if you paid us some money or something along those lines, we'll give you 10 years of prosperity. And then for the next 10 cards, everyone's like, nothing's happening. Everything's good for 10 cards.
That's how I got so many long lives. I think every time I got, for at least my first two, the one that was in the 70s and the one that was in the 90s, was because I got that, which is just a free 10 years. Like nothing can go wrong.
Yeah, nothing bad happens.
But that's kind of boring though, right?
100%. Yeah. And even the characters are like, yep, again, nothing going on. Like,
yeah, every character card you get is complaining about how boring it is that nothing's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. So, there's no maps. There's none of that. It's literally just based on the value of, the parameters that you're trying to fit into. So for the OG version, there's a money sign, which is your money and food. There's a sword, which is your army. There's a person for your people. And then there's the church, because you have to keep the church happy as well. So definitely had a few times, definitely a number of times where I died within 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, I'm new. Like, and then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, come over here real quick, dead. Like they just killed you. So,
wow.
And then you start over again. So,
there's a bunch of achievements, but each time you play, it'll start you with 3 different achievements, and they're a little cryptic, so you can't really tell. You kind of have to play through scenarios, sometimes multiple times, to figure out exactly how to get the achievement. And once you do get one of those achievements, it'll check it off and then add a brand new one, and those are just there until you achieve them. But when you mark one off, then it adds cards into your deck. So that's how you get new content, new people. That's how you kind of progress the plot of the game. And that's where it really sucked for me, because I got stuck in a loop of not being able to complete any of those quests. There were 2 that I just couldn't complete because I didn't have the right cards yet. So there was one, and I was like, I need to complete this one to get anything new.
Yeah.
And it was like set up a bestial honeymoon.
Oh, yeah.
And I got so close every single time I would get. So basically you get to a certain card where a guy is like, there's werewolves, like, let me go kill them. And you're like, no, you can't go kill them. And then someone turns into a werewolf. Basically, it turns into you have a werewolf running around.
That's cool.
And then you have another werewolf And so a couple choices later, they'll come back and they'll want you to like set them up with this other werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to make all the right decisions. But for some reason, the decisions you're making are still affecting
Yep.
your like money and
Oh,
your,
so you could just die in the middle of that.
it happened
Yeah.
to me 3
Yeah.
times.
That sucks.
I got so close to getting that, and I was like, that's all I need to move on. I didn't, I think for about 400 years, nothing changed because I could not
Oh
get
my
that achievement.
gosh.
And it was so awful.
Yeah.
So frustrating.
I think I got that one, but even with that said, it still was, in my opinion, it still was a bit of a grind. Like
Yeah.
it just felt like the same conversations and the same thing. And yeah, I felt like I wanted more. I needed. No, I still have that one too. I still have the
Oh.
bestial. Yeah.
How many cards are there?
I don't. Let me reopen it. Hold on one second.
I discovered 650.
I think
But
I was at 450
I
or
still
so.
have more to discover. So probably like 800,
Okay.
750, 800.
I think this game probably has close to 2,000. So
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
like over double, because I'm at 715 cards. I don't know if you can see this bar right below my character.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like I'm probably like around maybe 30%.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Well, and another aspect of our game, of the original, is that you keep running into the devil.
Mhm.
So early on in the game, I can't remember what year it's at, but you meet the devil, and it comes in the form of this dog that you see.
Cute.
So it is a cute dog. You can play fetch with the dog.
Yeah, I
and-
played fetch with him a few times.
Yeah, the dog will lead you out to the forest to some mushrooms, and that was always great because when you ate that mushroom, you got clairvoyance, so you
Yeah.
could see the numbers of how.
oh,
That's also how I got.
That's how I got my long one.
Yes, because you
Mhm.
can actually see how much you're gonna lose or gain.
yeah.
And what you have, so like your stock, and then how much is going to reduce or add.
Okay.
It to. So
Yeah,
cool.
but
Does that last like your whole life?
Yeah.
yeah, at least the whole.
Sometimes
Nice.
it'll last into your next life as well.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you get like traits? Because there was like when we would talk to certain people, you'd get like a certain trait. So we'd like open up the Silk Road.
Mhm.
So we'd go and trade with, I don't know.
I can't remember who you traded with someone.
Kublai
Yeah.
Khan.
Yeah, someone. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, an Asian population. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
just Silk Road.
Someone
Sure.
So,
east.
yeah, someone of the East. So, but it would constantly then give you an income. So you'd constantly be getting money,
Oh,
which was great. And then there was some times where like you decide to go on a crusade. So your population would constantly keep dwindling because you'd need them to send for the crusade.
Oh, that's fun. So it's kind
Yeah.
of like ongoing effects kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
But
no,
it
there
would
wasn't anything like that.
it would mess me up because I didn't realize for the longest time I thought that it went up every year,
Mhm.
but it didn't. It would just constantly raise. So I set my game down for a second to like watch TV, and then I
Oh,
looked
no, what?
and I died because my money went all the way to the top because it was just going like you have to
Uh-huh.
actually pause your game.
Oh, that's so strange.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so once your money starts going up, I got to a point where I was like going as fast as I could because I was like, I need something that's going to take my money away. Like
Yeah.
I'm getting too much money.
Yeah.
Spend my money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's really odd that I feel like that's real time
Mhm.
because nothing else in the game really is. But
Mhm.
I think that's really cool. There's like those traits, like those
Mhm.
almost like policies or like stances for your kingdom, like
Yeah.
kind of more
Yeah.
kingdom effects.
Well, and the trait you get from the devil. So at 3 different points in the game, the dog turns into the devil. And then you kind of see him kind of incarnate, like, he'll be like, each character will say a different line, but their eyes are red. And once you're done talking to him, he's like, I'll see you in this year. And then he gives you the trait where the next person you say yes to dies. And then you never see them again.
Oh,
Mhm.
so you can like cull your council?
So I don't remember the first person I killed because I think I did it on accident. But the second person I killed was this little I don't know if it was the fool or it was the guy that kept coming in.
You would kill the fool.
He kept coming in and like fucking with stuff. You had to pay
The
him off.
jester?
No, he was
Oh.
the third guy I killed.
Yeah. Yeah, that jester sucked.
The jester, but he was always in like rags and like kind of came in maybe saying he was like a prophet or I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
But he would come and like fuck shit up and like if you let him stay, he would ruin like your one aspect. So every time he showed up, I immediately paid him to leave until I killed him.
Yeah, it was a crazy profit.
This sounds interesting because it seems like you kind of have like more things like that are like, oh, you make this choice and like it actually feels like it has an effect.
Yeah.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah, you can cheat on your wife.
You can build fortifications to your walls, so if you have like a weak army, it kind of helps combat that. So
yeah, there was that sequence you were talking about in our last episode where one of your council guys, he's like acting really concerned. He's like, I need to talk to you, and he lures you outside, and then you're running outside because he blindfolds you and like knocks you out, but then you escape and you're running in the dark and you're following that voice. That woman that saves you.
Yep.
Because he says like the senator. You keep hearing about the senator, which is apparently like this guy or girl that is plotting against you.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so this woman saves you, and then a couple like choices later, if you play it right, you find out that she's the senator.
Oh.
And she's actually not bad, but she was trying to get you to a place where she could talk to you when the devil was distracted. And she tells you that if you want to beat the game, like you need to trick the devil or something like that. And then there's also a witch that you can ask like how to trick the devil, and she gives you like a bunch of different years.
Yeah.
And during those years, I paid attention, like during that choice, and I was just, nothing ever happened.
Oh,
so it
she
makes
was a
me,
fraud.
It makes me either want to go back and play the game, maybe she was a fraud, or like I wasn't doing the right things in those choices, because like I can't remember if we talked about this yet, that I beat the game. I did. When I just beat the game, it said that I basically didn't trick the devil. And so
yeah, you lost the game.
I lost the game.
Damn.
The curse is still there. Bye.
Yeah, I didn't break the curse. So there were a lot of long running things that you kind of had to uncover and make the right choices to sometimes. Oh, and you could go down into little crypts or into dungeons.
You could, yeah. You'd have like miners who would come up and, sometimes they're like, oh, we hit gold. Like, should we share it with everybody or should you take it all? Like, there's decisions along that line. But then, yeah, there'd also be like, oh, we found a crypt under the castle. And you could be like, I'm going to go adventure it. And you could go down into the crypt. Definitely died a few times doing that. Or you could say, no, seal it up. Like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So,
but when you went down there, because I went down there quite a bit, you kind of learned that there were certain doors that you didn't want to go to, like the arsenic door was always bad.
Well, yeah.
The air door always had a key, so you could get out and go back to your kingdom.
Yeah.
The gold door always had a chest. Oh, no, it was the gold door, because the gold door had the chest with either a key or a torch to like light things up.
Yeah.
And then the air door had the door that let you back into the kingdom. But you could kind of get lost. Like you could go one way, and then if you turned around, the path was not, you like weren't backtracking. It was just completely different.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to like rethink my value of 2 on these the content variety, because like for what the game is, it sounds like they were kind of creative with different things they could do within that like very restricted format.
Yeah.
A few different things, sounds like.
I don't even, mine is still a 1. It was just too repetitive.
Yeah.
They did a lot of really cool things, but again, they just happened too many times.
That's true. It feels like they had good ideas, but then had to make it a filler game to like, see, you didn't play it in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there were a lot of really cool aspects of this game. Playing this game was a roller coaster for me, because I would go through phases of being like, I fucking hate this. This is boring. To doing something and being like, oh, okay, something new. Like I'm excited. But the lows lasted too long to make the highs worth it for me.
Yeah, I was in the same boat. Like I definitely got to a point, particularly towards, I guess in the beginning, but towards the end where I'm just like, ugh. I gotta do this. Like I gotta play this game for a little bit longer. I gotta, stay focused and keep trying.
Yeah.
But
that's never the feeling you want for this podcast or anything, really.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. Like it was fun. It definitely was fun, and I'll probably still play it for a little bit longer. But yeah, it definitely was super repetitive and a bit of a struggle for me personally to get through. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
think
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, yeah, I think I went through like sort of a similar journey with like having to shift my expectations on what this game was. And definitely like from the very beginning when I played it on my desktop
Oh,
Yeah.
for like 20 or 30 minutes, and I was like, what the hell what am I doing? Like, yikes.
yeah.
To like now transitioning to my phone and like kind of forcing myself to like, okay, like, before you go to bed, play it for 10 minutes. And just for
Yeah.
10 minutes.
yeah.
Now I'm like appreciating it a lot more in a totally different context and mindset than like I initially had.
Sure.
So I think that helps.
Yeah.
This was definitely a game that you play 10 minutes a night for like years.
Yeah.
You don't play this in even like a week or a month.
Yeah.
That's why the repetitiveness, I think, for a phone game works, because you can just play it and then if you're tired of it, you put it away until you get that itch of like, oh, I think I'm ready to play this again. And then you just whip it out and play it for a few more minutes and then put it away.
Yeah.
I just wasn't able to do that on my Steam Deck.
Sure.
Sure.
But even on a phone, I chose this game and it wasn't something I was actually interested in once I started playing it.
Yeah. That's fair. I think like
Yeah.
as a time killer, I think it works well for me. There's been other phone games that I've played that I'm like more like, let me sit on the couch for like an hour straight and play this. This is not that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's effective for like kind of just picking it up for a few minutes at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. Got a doctor's appointment and you're in the waiting room.
Oh, yeah.
Pick it up for a few minutes. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
I also think that because there's different like versions of it, you can kind of find the one that you're interested in. Or if you're playing it and you're like, oh, this Three Kingdoms story is getting a little old, like, let me switch to the space one or the regular medieval one. Like, so that's kind of cool too. There's a little bit of different flavor, which it sounds like slightly different mechanics too, but you aren't going to be like totally unfamiliar if you hop into a different game. So
Yeah, definitely. And I guess that is the good part about the Reigns series, I guess, is there is a lot of options they can choose from. So you could start with the OG one or the Three Kingdoms and then just move around if you wanted to.
yeah.
Yeah, so that is great. I think it sounds like they really built off, Emma said this in the last episode, but really built off what was good and made it better.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the Three Kingdoms would be a lot more fun than the OG version.
It certainly
Yeah.
seems like it has a lot more content as far as just like the number of cards even is like over doubled probably.
Yeah.
So that's something like I'm sure you guys have seen events 10 times that I've only seen like twice,
Yeah, that would definitely change my expectation and how I would feel about the game. But it still was fun. I'm not, it just wasn't exactly my cup of tea. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely just didn't meet the expectations that I had going into the game. Which,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all good.
Yeah, we're going to have some stinkers and it's okay.
Yeah.
This wasn't a stinker. I shouldn't say that. But
I was going to say,
for
I don't feel like
me,
it's a stinker,
No,
but
no. But we're going to play games that are just hard to talk about on this podcast because we didn't enjoy it. And Rylan, you put it really nicely when we were talking about this a couple days ago, where it's easy to watch like a shitty movie and talk about it because you don't have to be an active participant. But playing a game that you don't enjoy, because you have to actively participate in the completion of that game, it can be a lot more difficult. And I think sour your experience a lot more because you're forcing yourself to play.
Yeah.
Because we want to be able to talk about the whole game. Normally I would have just put this down and stopped playing. But
totally.
I wanted to finish it. So,
But I will say, like, for my part, I would have done the same in the first, like, probably like hour that I was messing with it. I would have stopped. But now, like I said last time, like, I think I'll leave this installed and play it every once in a while. Just kind of see what my adventure takes me. So
Yeah.
it's nice to get that further appreciation.
that's what we're here for. We're here to fight through the games that you might not enjoy, but then maybe you will enjoy them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Take our word for it or don't. I don't know. Find someone that you agree with that likes the same game as you and listen to them.
Yeah. We're just giving you options.
Yeah.
Different games.
Totally.
Yeah.
Speaking of, what are we playing next time?
We are playing The Plucky Squire.
Bum, ba, da, bum.
Yeah.
I'm excited. This one looks really fun.
It looks really fun. I'm pretty stoked about it. So it looks like it's like a 2D, 3D, platformy, puzzly.
It looks so clever.
It
Yeah.
does, yeah. I was looking around and I was looking on our list and I was kind of pondering and yeah, then I saw that one. I'm like, that looks pretty fun. Like, let's try that. So
Yeah. Cool.
Cool.
I'm excited.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, this brings us to the end of our podcast. Please join us next week for our rating episode of The Plucky Squire, followed by its discussion episode the week after. Please go and give the podcast a follow, 5 stars, a review if you liked what you heard. You can email us with any comments, questions, or constructive criticism at letmebeyourgg@gmail.com. You can also send us any game requests. If there's something you want us to review, just make sure you put game request in the subject line so we can find it. You can find us on socials, most socials, as Let Me Be Your GG. That's Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. And we're Let Me Be Your Game Guide on TikTok. Our Patreon can be found at patreon.com/letmebeyourgg. Thank you so much for listening. We can't wait to see you next week. And thank you so much for letting me be your game guide. GG, y'all.
Bye.
I'm your host, Emma.
I was yawning. I'm sorry. This is Rylan.
I can't.
It's like you're answering the phone.
I'm your host, Rylan.
I'm your Damn it.